Hydrophobia, the fear of water. Hemophobia, the fear of blood. Zoophobia, the fear of animals. Anatidaephobia, the fear that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you. As much as you may have thought that some of these fears sound ridiculous, the reason these words exist is because people actually have these fears. Every one of us has some kind of phobia or the other that someone else might find strange. A lot of us have this irrational fear of something that's quite unlikely to harm us. Who doesn't go through life without having any irrational fears? But then again, who doesn't go through life without having any fear at all? Even those that genuinely affect our lives. We are all afraid of something, and it causes us to make choices that we may not even want to make. Some of us are afraid of rejection, and so we put on this mask, hoping that no one will see the real us. Some of us are afraid of commitment, and so we find ways to avoid relationships, jobs, and areas that demand long-term dedication. Some of us are afraid of not finding our purpose in life, or of being in the wrong place, the wrong job, the wrong relationship, the wrong friendships. And then some of us are afraid of people and their opinions. Our parents, our bosses, our teachers, and some of you are afraid right now because there's this storm that you may be going through or a battle that you may be facing. And nobody else seems to understand this. But you know it's been a struggle, and you know it's been sucking the life out of you, and you just want it to end. You don't want to be afraid anymore. You want to win this. There's a story in the Bible where Jesus is in a boat with his disciples. He's fallen asleep and there's this crazy storm that's been brewing. In fact, it's so terrifying that the disciples think that they're going to die and they are afraid. So they wake Jesus up and they say, "Don't you care?" To which Jesus' response is to get up, look at the storm and say, "Shh." And then he looks at the roaring waves and he says, "Be still." Basically, he tells nature, be quiet and stay quiet. And then he turns to his disciples and he asks, "Why were you afraid?" And you'd think at this point the disciples would be relieved to be free from the storm. And yet, they go from being afraid of the storm to being terrified of Jesus. Mark 4 verse 41 says, the disciples were terrified of Jesus and they asked each other, "Who is this that even the waves and the winds obey him?" Here's the point. The Bible has tons of references to this concept called fear of the Lord. It means to understand how awesome and amazing God is to the point where we're filled with this holy awe, reverence, and fear of God. And in the presence of this amazing, awesome God, nothing else seems scary. Oswald Chambers had this to say, "The remarkable thing about God is that when you fear God, you fear nothing else. Whereas if you don't fear God, you fear everything else." You just heard me talk about irrational fear and genuine fears of storms and battles that you may be going through. But my point is this: in the presence of Jesus, all fears are irrational fears. He is in control. So if you're going through a storm today, look to him. He can calm it just like that. He's got this, and he's bigger than your fear. Almost forgot. If you've got any prayer requests and if you'd like us to pray for you, just please feel free to drop a comment below or reach out to us through our email ID or phone number or the contact form on our website. And don't forget to like this video and maybe even subscribe to our channel. God bless.